Hey everyone, this is Nintendo Act 8 for another exception video, because I'm trying to make as less videos as possible, because I really don't want to make videos on this computer, but I found some Battlefield 4 gameplay lying around, and the whole NX thing just kind of happened, so I want to talk about it. Now, I watched Game Explain's 2 discussions. Yeah, they actually just uploaded another one like a few hours ago, so I suggest you check that out. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and I also watched Review Tech USA and Monday and Matt's discussion on it. Now I know a lot of people don't like Review Tech USA. I personally like his videos, and I watched this whole like 30-minute discussion with Monday and Matt, and I can tell you right now, I 100% agree with every single thing he said about how. Okay, what the heck did he say? That's a fail on me. But I remember the video, and pretty much everything he said on that video I agree with. I also watched Game Explain's video, and it was definitely pretty interesting to hear what they had to say, and it made me remember a few things that I probably should have talked about anyway, so I guess it's convenient for me. So, let's talk about first the biggest news, the fact that, actually no, I would argue this is bigger news than the NX, the fact that Zelda will supposedly be the only game they're going to show at E3. Now, after hearing Review Tech USA and Game Explain's discussions, they reminded me of the fact that Nintendo never said that would be the only game. They just said that would be the main focus. And that is true. They never said it would be the only game, at least to my knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they said it would be the only game. I think they just said it would be the main game. Because, think about it. What else do they have to show off? Like, what else do they have? Like, really think. What else do they have to show off? The only other games that are going to be coming out is Color Splash, which I think is going to be a decent game, even though everyone else hates it, but I think it's going to be a good game, and Pokemon Sun and Moon. In terms of announced games, that's all they have. That's their entire 2016 lineup. They're good games. I mean, you gotta admit, Color Splash is going to be way better than Mario Tennis, or Amiibo Festival, or Devil Stirred. Okay, I'm not going to shoot down Devil Stirred. I haven't played Devil Stirred. There's a free version on PC that I'll probably try out when I can. If this may can even find a match at that point, because the game will probably be like a year old. But anyways, so yeah, like Nintendo said, yeah, the NX is coming out March 2017, and the NX will not be shown at any form in any way at E3, which makes no sense at first. Did you hear that part? At first. Because that's the biggest conference of the year. That's when everyone's expecting all the big announcements, the bombshells. Last year, Sony did a fantastic job with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, and The Last Guardian. And you gotta admit, they won last year's E3. Like, if you think anyone else won, you're simply wrong. Okay, of course everyone is allowed to have their opinions, but I mean, come on, Sony easily won last year. Because they did one good job. I mean, personally, the most exciting part for me was probably the Black Ops 3 gameplay, but the Final Fantasy VII gameplay was, well, not gameplay, but like the announcement. That announcement is going down in like the top 3 of gaming announcement hype. I think I just pronounced that wrong, but you know what I mean. Right up there with Twilight Princess's reveal in 2004, that classic show with that classic Conan music that I guarantee you they're going to use at E3, by the way, when they reveal the game with its official name. Yeah, that's something else. Have you just noticed that if they're going to show off Zelda for like the entirety of their digital event or their press, well, it's not going to be a press conference. You know, that's another thing. I was so confident on the words. Okay. I was so sure they were going to do a press conference solely because of the NX. I was like, oh, they're going to have like Color Splash for 5 minutes, Sun and Moon for 5 minutes, and have like a little section for Zelda, and the rest of it's going to be NX launch titles, NX price, NX name, maybe, assuming NX is not the final name, which honestly at this point I think it will be. And you know, all this stuff about the NX, that's all they're going to talk about. But now that they're not going to do that, and they're going to do it later in the year, which basically means NX Direct confirmed, unless they decide to do what a lot of people would actually want, and people were saying they should bring it back. Remember Nintendo Space World? What's Nintendo Space World? It was basically an event they held every year up until 2001. It was basically their own version of E3, except I think it was open to the public. I'm not quite sure, but I think it was open to the public. Not like that would matter for us, because that's in Japan, obviously. I mean, where else would Nintendo hold their special E3-like event? Of course it's in Japan. And actually, up until 2001, all their major announcements came from Space World. The GameCube announcement, the N64 announcement, the N64 DD, I remember that thing, the original version of Mother 3, Zelda 64, all of their big announcements. Oh yeah, and the original version of Super Mario Sunshine that ran at 60 FPS that for some reason they decided to get rid of. And the original controversial reveal of Wind Waker, back when everyone didn't like Wind Waker, because oh my god, it's so shaded. Yeah. Space World was way more hype for E3. I'm sorry, fail. Space World was way more important for Nintendo than E3 ever was. But after 2001, they started to do E3 more and more prominently. Some great, like 2004. Some not so great. Cough, cough. Wii Music demo. And of course, last year's wasn't all that great. So yeah. And 2014's was actually pretty good. I would argue Nintendo's 2014 press conference, digital event is probably my favorite of the ones that at least I've seen so far. But anyways, yeah, Nintendo's kind of been on and off with E3 and how that's worked. However, since they're not showing the NX this year, people have said this is going to be their worst E3, which I don't think it will for simply one reason. If Zelda is really their one and only game in terms of content, yes, it's the absolute worst. But think about it. It's a Zelda game. How can a Zelda game be the worst E3? Think about it. We know nothing about the game. They're going to reveal a ton of information in this digital event, or whatever the heck they decide to do for E3. How is that going to make it the worst Direct? I get it, though. That's like one game. That's one game. And believe me, that's still... The thought of them only doing one game at E3 doesn't make sense. Now, I've also heard Review Tech USA and GameXplain said that the gaming industry is becoming less reliant on E3, like Activision's not having an E3 press conference, for example. They're going to do all their own special thing. And I get that. And I get that Nintendo probably doesn't want to compete with the inevitable launch of the PlayStation 4 Neo and the Xbox 1.5, whatever the heck the next iterative upgrade is going to be called. I really don't want there to be another Xbox One because I don't want to have to buy another one. I already have one. I got it like in December, and I just spent like a good chunk of money getting one for my brother. And now there's this new one coming out. Now, granted, if it can run games at 1080p, which I really hope it can. I mean, come on. If it's going to be more powerful, then it better be able to run games at 1080p. Seriously, at least be as powerful as the PS4. Oh man, okay, we let's not bring that discussion into this. Point is, the Xbox 1.5 and the PlayStation 4 Neo are going to be revealed at E3. There's no question about it, at least for Sony. Microsoft hasn't... Phil Spencer is trying so hard to be like, I don't want a hardware upgrade, I don't want to do that. But we all know that that can't be true because, think about it, the NX is going to be coming out and the PlayStation 4 Neo is going to be coming out. And the Xbox One will basically be the weakest console out of all of them. So they would have to do a hardware upgrade. They would just have to. Even if not that many games get developed for it. So I think the PlayStation 4 Neo and the Xbox 1.5 will be in the same situation that the new 3DS is in. Where it's better, it has better hardware and better features and everything, but it's not going to be used that much. And it'll probably just be used to make games 1080p. Which is what that's a good enough of a reason for me to get one. Although granted, I'm building a gaming PC so I don't have to deal with the limitations of console. Consoles aren't bad, obviously. I mean, I really like the Xbox One, and of course I'm hyped for the NX and everything. But obviously, you can only deal with 720p and 900p and a few 1080p games for so long. Okay, I'm gonna stop making into this. I'm gonna stop with this whole making the PC master race look as good as it may or may not is. Okay, my vocabulary is screwing up already. Okay, point is, the PlayStation 4 Neo and the Xbox 1.5 are going to be revealed at E3, and Nintendo probably is thinking this might be a smart idea to not show it there, because either one, they're not ready, which honestly, I'm okay with that, and I'll talk about that in a second, and two, they don't have to compete for, news space. They don't have to compete for their own spot. They don't have to compete for advertisements. They don't have to compete for audiences. Because, let's be real here. The Xbox and PlayStation audience, at least right now, is bigger than Nintendo's. It simply is. Because a lot of people don't really trust Nintendo after the Wii U, and I kind of can't blame them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Wii U. It has some great games like Splatoon and whatnot, but there's a reason it only sold 12 million units. I'd argue the biggest reason why is because of the whole name. I mean, really, Wii U? The name isn't really the problem, because, I mean, if you have the system, Wii U, yippity-doo, that's what it's called. But, of course, as we all know, about the whole transition from the Wii being the casual console that people bought just for Wii Sports, to this new console that, at the time, back in 2012, was supposed to be able to run all the games that the Xbox and PlayStation at the time, because remember, this is before the PS4 and Xbox One were even announced. You know, it would be the third-party console that put Nintendo back up on top, like, the, you know, next to Xbox and PlayStation. And that didn't work. Most people just bought the console for a few games, including me. I wanted the console for Smash Bros. And Smash Bros. Only. And I got Smash Bros. And it was awesome, and the hype train was awesome. I really am sad the hype train's over now for Smash Bros., at least until, you know, if they want to announce Smash NX. I'll save that for a different discussion. But, yeah. I mean, I bought it for Smash Bros., and everything else was just gravy, pretty much. With the exception of Splatoon. Splatoon was a really good game, and if you have a Wii U and you don't have Splatoon yet, I highly recommend you get it, because it really is a good game, and it's still getting updates, which is pretty nice, actually, considering that the game is almost a year old. But anyways, back to the NX and everything like that. So yeah, maybe Nintendo wants to, you know, have their own special event where, you know, everyone can just concentrate on them. I've heard Review Tech USA and Game Explain say this in their discussions, and honestly, now I really think about it, that does make sense. But then I've also heard Game Explain say that, well, that means it's okay. Think about it. People have been arguing whether or not having the Nintendo Direct or doing a press conference would lessen the effect of the NX's reveal. But then, if you really think about it, every time there's a Nintendo Direct, every single time, there's a huge hype train behind it. Even if it's a small Direct, there's always a huge hype train behind a Nintendo Direct, no matter what is in it. So, even if they revealed the NX in a special, like, NX Direct, that would have a ton of hype behind it. So realistically, the whole, it needs to be at E3 because it would get that giant hype train doesn't really apply. Yes, it would be nice if it was at E3, it would probably get a bit more coverage than it would otherwise, but Nintendo would be more than fine if they just did a special NX Direct later in the year, like in August or September, or whenever they decide to do it. It would be just fine. Because you know that that would have a big enough hype train that it would do that, like, people would watch it. I mean, of course people are going to watch it. It's the announcement of a new Nintendo console. Of course people are going to watch it, but, you know. It's a Nintendo Direct. Nintendo Directs always have a ton of hype behind them. Even though people try to lower their expectations, which is definitely a good idea, most people are usually really hyped for Nintendo Directs, and me included. It feels like you're in heaven when you're waiting there in front of your computer or your phone or your TV, and you're watching the little thing where it's like a Nintendo Direct starts in like 30 minutes or whatever. And you're looking at that screen where it's like Nintendo Direct, and it has the date at the bottom of the screen. You feel like you're like on the hype train, and it's amazing. And that's right there why I can definitely say, even though I think they should have revealed it at E3 no matter what, because it just makes sense from a obvious standpoint, Nintendo can survive by releasing the NX at a different point. And by that I mean, like, you know, whenever they decide to officially announce it. Now, they did say in their investor meeting, which, by the way, all this news is from their recent investor meeting that happened a day or two ago when this is uploaded. They said that... Okay, what the heck was I going to say? Why do I keep blanking out in the middle of a discussion? That's not going to help. Okay, what the heck was I going to say? Fail. Okay, well, until I remember, let's talk about another thing that they... let's talk about something that's not NX related, but it is a piece of Nintendo news. Did anyone know that Nintendo owned a baseball team? Yeah, Nintendo owns, or at least now, as of now, pretty much owned, a baseball team called the Seattle Mariners, which they've owned since like the 1980s, I think, and their CEO is Howard Lincoln. If you watch Gaming Historian, or you just are a Nintendo fan, you'll know that Howard Lincoln is the lawyer that defended Nintendo back in the day with the whole Universal King Kong, Donkey Kong, case. He defended Nintendo, and that's one of the reasons why people would arguably debate Nintendo is still around today, because they didn't lose that lawsuit. Well, he eventually retired from Nintendo but became the CEO of the Seattle Mariners, which Nintendo up until now owned. And now he's retiring from the Seattle Mariners, and this time it looks like he's done, like forever. Who knows? Maybe he'll go back to Nintendo, although I highly doubt it. I just thought I would point that out because I don't think anyone even knew Nintendo owned a baseball team. Now, to be fair, and this was actually posted on the official Seattle Mariners Twitter account and Nintendo's own Twitter account, at least the Japanese Twitter account. They're not selling all of their shares. They're just selling. They're still going to have a 10% stake in the Seattle Mariners, but they're not going to be like the sole owner anymore, like they were for the past 20-something years or whatever. How long have they owned the Seattle Mariners? I think they've had it since the 80s. Whatever. Just thought I would point out that little cool Nintendo tidbit. Anyways, let's talk about Zelda now. Okay, so Zelda being delayed until 2017. I'm going to be real here. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try and act like this isn't a problem. There's no reason that Zelda Wii U, did you hear that? Wii U, Zelda Wii U should have been delayed to 2017. Now, the only reason they're doing this, and everyone said it and I'm going to have to agree with them, the only reason they're doing this is so they could have the NX version be the primary version, and I kind of get that, but there's no reason to delay the Wii U version just so you can have the NX version as a launch title. It doesn't make any sense. I know most people are going to buy the NX version anyway, and not me included. I'm not going to buy it on the Wii U if it's going to come out on the NX. Even if I don't have the NX, I'm just going to wait to get the NX, and then I'll buy the game. I'm not going to buy the inferior version. Not that the Wii U version is going to be super inferior, but it's going to be the inferior version, obviously. So, why delay it? I just want to know, what was Nintendo's mindset behind that? I'm sure they have their reasons. I'm sure in the end, we're not going to care. Once the game is out, we're just going to play it, and we're not even going to care about the release date because it's already out. It's like with Smash Bros. When Smash Bros. Was delayed, a lot of people got mad, and I was mad too. I was like, why is it not coming out in the summer? Why is it coming out in October? And then I got mad because I didn't have a Japanese 3DS at the time, so I couldn't import it when it came out in Japan, like a month early, I should point out. But in the end, we got the game, and I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about the release date, we got the game. This is going to be the same for Zelda Wii U. When it eventually comes out in March 2017, we're just going to play it, and we're going to enjoy it. I hope. Of course, I'm going to get on the NX, because that's the better version. I'm going to buy the better version, of course, but it still doesn't make any sense, because now, Nintendo has next to no games for 2016. All they have left is Color Splash and Sun and Moon. That's their entire first-party lineup. I'm not going to count Tokyo Mirage Sessions, or aka Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, for one reason. That game came out in Japan last year, so I'm just going to count it as a 2015 title. So there's only 2 new games coming out this year. Color Splash and Sun and Moon. That's their entire lineup. Now granted, Kineshima himself, who by the way is Nintendo's new CEO, if no one knew that, he said that there's plenty of unannounced titles for the 3DS that's going to be released this year. Both first party and third party, which is cool, but he didn't mention the Wii U, and I'm like, why? Why not mention the Wii U? Because the Wii U is your current system, whether you want to ditch it or not. I mean, I kind of agree. You know what? I kind of gave up on the Wii U after Smash Bros. Because after the NX was announced back in March 2015, at that one press conference that Iwata was at, I'm like, okay, the Wii U is dead. Actually, no, I wasn't. I didn't say it was dead until E3 2015. And once we saw there was no Animal Crossing Wii U, nothing like that, I'm like, okay, yeah. I declared the Wii U dead at E3 2015. And now they have even less of a lineup. It's a better lineup. I mean, whether you like it or not. Remember, Color Splash is better than Mario Tennis Ultra Smash or Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. You gotta admit at least that. Color Splash is gonna be way better than those 2 rushed games. So yeah, they have like no lineup, at least for the Wii U. They only have one somewhat major game coming out for the Wii U, and a lot of people are already really mad about the game because it's not traditional RPG as it is. So that's not going to help Color Splash sales at all, is it? As for the 3DS, I think the 3DS will be fine. I mean, it's got Sun and Moon, and of course there's going to be Yokai Watch 2, that still isn't announced, by the way, but it's going to be announced soon. Whether it's at E3, which I highly doubt at this point, because, you know, they focus on Zelda, or what I think it's going to be announced at, which is going to be the Level 5 World Vision Conference. And before anyone asks, no, we do not know the date yet. Once we do, I will make a video on it. We do not have an official date from Level 5 on when that conference is going to be. But when there is, I will of course make a video and tell you, no matter what. But anyways, yeah, so of course there's going to be Pokemon Sun and Moon, Yokai Watch 2. In Japan there's going to be Yokai Watch 3. There's going to be Dragon Quest. There's going to be all those unannounced games that they have planned. Fire Emblem Fates is coming out in Europe and Australia next month. As Bravely Second just came out. You know, the 3DS is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's the Wii U I'm worried about, and I get why. The Wii U is dead, from Nintendo's standpoint and from a lot of people's standpoint, including me. It's a good console, but it is simply dead. I mean, think about it. Only one good game, one potentially good game, coming out this entire year? That's bad for the rest of the year. Like, from now until March 2017 when Zelda Wii U comes out, and by that point we're not going to care because the NX is going to be out. That's their one and only game. And Kimishima, did I say that right? I don't know. Screw it, I'm just going to keep going. Kimishima didn't mention the Wii U at all in terms of upcoming games. He just said the 3DS. So either they have a surprise left, when I've heard Game Explain said they could do Skyward Sword HD, which would be pretty cool. I haven't actually beat Skyward Sword yet because I'm stuck on this one part where you have to get a bunch of music notes underwater, and it's really annoying. And I'm probably going to be stuck there forever because I don't really play the game all that much. But yeah. So what the heck is Nintendo going to have for the Wii U? Nothing. I mean, you gotta give them credit. At least last year they had Mario Maker, Yoshi's Woolly World, Devil's Third, and they did have Amiibo Festival and Ultra Smash, even though they weren't good games. They still had like 5 or 6. Oh, and Xenoblade. Don't forget about Xenoblade. I almost completely forgot about Xenoblade. So they had good games last year for the Wii U, but now they're only gonna have a whopping one game to show for Holiday 2016. Unless they have a surprise awaiting us at E3 or in a Nintendo Direct. That's their entire Wii U lineup. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Because I haven't really been putting that much money into the Wii U because there's not been a ton of games I've needed day one after Splatoon. I debated Pokken Tournament, but I don't have that game yet. I don't have Twilight Princess HD yet. And I don't have Xenoblade yet, and I'll probably never get them. Or at least I'll get them long after they're probably even worth buying. Okay, that's not quite sure. I'll probably get Pokken Tournament, but I'm not going to get Twilight Princess HD. Because when I get my new PC built, I'm just going to play it on Dolphin with like a texture mod or something if I really feel like it at 60 FPS. I'm not going to buy the Wii U version. I'm going to play it on Dolphin when it's going to be at a higher frame rate. And I can have higher textures and all that stuff. As for Pokken Tournament, the Wii U version looks really bad. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. The Wii U version of Pokken Tournament looks bad. What I mean by that exactly? The resolution. Digital Foundry did a video, and the game runs at like 880 by 540. That's lower than 600p, I think. Actually, no, that's the resolution of the 3DS. I think it's like a slightly higher resolution than the 3DS. I think the 3DS has an 800 by 200 screen, and the Wii U version of Pokken Tournament runs at 800 by 554 or something like that. That's really bad. And what doesn't make any sense is the fact that it doesn't make sense because Smash Bros has 8 players at 60 FPS and that's at 1080p. But Pokken Tournament is only 2 players and they can't get to run it even at least at 720? What's up with that, Nintendo? I mean, I get the console's weak, but still. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, now I get that Pokken Tournament is a 3D, it's more of a 3D type of fighting game where Smash Bros is mostly 2D, but aren't all fighting games like 2D anyway? I don't, like, what's so resource intensive on the Wii U that you can't get it to hit at least 720p? All Nintendo's games run at 720p with the exception of Smash Bros, which runs at 1080. So there's no reason why a game like Pokken Tournament, and now I can hear the argument of they want to make sure it doesn't dip below 60 FPS, but it does. Look at Digital Foundry's video. On their video, they show that it dips to like the 50s, which I know isn't that huge, but it still dips. Whereas Smash Bros. On 8 players on Palutena's Temple, like, doesn't drop players at all, and that's at 1080p. Drop players. Drop frames, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't make any sense. I really hope Pokken gets a NX port, because it needs it. Because it needs to be at 1080p, and it doesn't, and it can't drop frames, And the only way that's going to happen is if they put it on the NX. I know it's not one of the rumored games, but it should be on there. Yeah, the rumored games right now are Smash Bros. Well, now Zelda is confirmed, so we can knock that off the list. So yeah, Smash Bros, Splatoon, and Mario Maker. Why isn't Pokken one of them? It desperately needs to be on the NX. It's too blurry. And that's not just me. I played the demo on the Wii U, and it looks really blurry. And I don't get why they couldn't make it at least 720p. I'm not expecting them to make 1080. But at the same time, they kind of should, because the Wii U can clearly handle Smash Bros. At 8 players, with 8 players on Palutena's Temple at 1080p and like not drop frames at all. But Pokken Tournament is like lower than 600p, and it still drops below 60 FPS with 2 players. I don't get that logic, but whatever. Okay, what else do we have left to cover? Okay, let's see. So yeah, NX release date. Nintendo not really having anything at E3 or the rest of the year. The Seattle Mariners thing, and yeah, I don't think there's anything else. No, I think I remember. Ooh, it reminds me. I do remember one thing. I forgot about this. Nintendo did announce that they're gonna have more updates for Miitomo. There's gonna be a lot more Splatoon merchandise, and this is actually game related. They have announced 2 more mobile apps they're making with DNA. Now they're gonna continue to make updates for Miitomo, but they're also going to be making a Animal Crossing game and a Fire Emblem game. They're both going to be launching in autumn 2016, so is that their holiday 2016 title? 2 mobile games? Now, of course, these will actually be games instead of, interactive social experiences like with Miitomo. But, yeah, so I guess there's that. And for some reason, my mind just went completely blank for some reason. What the heck was I going to say? I completely blanked out. Oh yeah, the mobile games. So yeah, Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing. They said that the Animal Crossing game is going to be compatible with the main series titles, which most likely means that there's going to be a real Animal Crossing game on NX. Which will more than make up for the fact, we had Amiibo Festival when everyone was really confident we were going to get an actual game. And then, the Fire Emblem game. The only information we got on it, I believe, was the fact that it's going to be more accessible than the traditional games on the 3DS and, the previous ones on the Famicom or whatever. I've never played a Fire Emblem game, so I can't really make a call on that. And the only Animal Crossing game I've played is the original one on the GameCube, but I'm sure these 2 games will be fine. And by the way, there's not going to be any microtransactions as far as I know. And they're going to be it's not like Miitomo where there's microtransactions. They're going to be like full-fledged games. And they're coming out, in like the fall. So, September, October, November, December, sometime around then. Worldwide, mind you. Because I probably should point that out. And with that being said, I believe that's all the Nintendo stuff we have gotten so far. So, what's my thoughts on all this? For all of this news, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. E3 is going to come and go. We're going to get our Zelda information. We're going to get our NX Direct, and we're going to forget all about E3, and we're going to forget all about this entire incident. Once we get that NX Direct, we're not even going to care about what else happened. As long as we get our NX Direct, which is going to happen, I think we'll be fine. But of course, that's assuming we get NX Direct. They could do Space World again, which I would love if they brought back Space World. People have been suggesting it, and that'd be pretty cool. Or, fail. But of course, we don't know. Nintendo is always very secretive. But the biggest complaint people have with all this is that we're going to have to deal with NX rumors for another year. Well, not quite. I mean, think about it. We're going to know what the console looks like. We're going to know the controller. We're going to know the launch titles. We're going to know pretty much everything about it before the end of the year. So, it's not going to be that bad. So, yeah. By the way, as far as the live reaction goes, I am not going to have the complete computer built by, like, June. I'll have it at least, the main part, not counting the GPU, but, the processor, the motherboard, everything else I need. I just won't have the graphics card until, the fall. But I'll have everything I need to stream and make videos with by, July. But I'm not going to be able to do a live reaction to E3 at all. Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. I can't do any of it, and I really want to because I want to see. Because I want to be able to. Because I want to be able to watch you know, the announcements with you know, you guys, or at least, you know, do a live reaction. But can't do that this time around. But I will have the computer ready by July, and then, you know, when the NX Direct comes around, we can do a live stream and all that stuff. Although, my friend, which is, his name is Apolta. Is that it? Apolta? I'm just going to call him Ethan, because that's his actual name. He's going to be building a computer. That's actually AMD, just because trivia. And it's all like AMD based, you know, AMD processor, AMD graphics card. That's not really the point. The point is, it's going to be built by E3, and he's going to record our Skype call or whatever, and we're going to be able to record our live reaction that way. So, and then, like, you know, we'll upload it later. So it's not going to be like live. It's going to be a live reaction for us, but we're not going to like do a live stream or anything. We're just going to like, record our Skype call, you know, paste the direct in there, and then we're going to throw it on YouTube. But starting with when I get my PC built, we're going to do. I'm going to, you know, have a whole layout and everything, and it'll be really nice, like, you know, blah blah LPs or whatever. So yeah. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Sorry for, you know, this entire, you know, ran out of gameplay snippet I put. I checked my Twitch account. I don't have any more gameplay. So I'm going to start recording some more gameplay again. Because clearly I'm all out, and I had to put up this temporary, like, postcard thing with the Yokai Watch background. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. So yeah, leave a comment on what you think about all these announcements from Nintendo regarding the NX, Zelda, or even the mobile news. Just in general, what do you think about this? And yeah, with that being said, this is Nintendo Act 8 signing out. I'll see you guys when the Yokai Watch 2 gets announced, because that's probably going to be the next announcement. We'll find out. Anyways, I'll see you later.